screen. You should just accept, and it's going to take you to the stage.
It's really interesting, actually. I have to say, compared to Twitter Spaces, I think Discord has the better product. All of this stuff is obviously riffing off Clubhouse. Yeah, Philip, you should be able to see like a green bar at the top of your screen now.
Welcome, everybody. We're waiting for Philip to join from the audience on the speaker panel, and then we can start the AMA. As you see, already 45 people in there, and plenty on the video platforms.
Do you mind sending Philip that invite again? I'm not sure if he got it, the speaker invite.
Yeah, sure.
Got it.
Beautiful. Welcome on stage.
Like, exactly on time.
I mean,
doesn't
matter. It's it's a Solana year. We can anytime we do it.
But are we live yet? Are others listening into it, or?
We are live.
We are live everywhere. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Discord. We are live on YouTube, on Media.network. Of course, we're going to be on Media.network as Solana fans.
Perfect.
You guys are organized.
And for those that have low internet speeds and maybe they're using mobile phones and limited data, try Media.network, guys. If you want video as well, it has the crispiest sound, image, and it uses really low bandwidth. No bufferings, no nothing. Really recommend it. So welcome guys. Thank you so much for being here. I totally appreciate it. It's a big week for Solrise. There's a lot of alpha to be shared, so thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Let's start from meeting you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did the team come together? How did you end up in crypto? And eventually, how did you arrive in Solana?
Philip, I'll go first, and then you can jump in and talk about the bit after you met Vodor. Work for you? Cool. So, I mean, there's three co-founders here. We don't have Vidor here today, but we have a lot of other team members. But all three of us have been entrepreneurs for a long time. We've done a lot of different things. I started off. I was doing the more corporate side of things. I was a management consultant with Capgemini, and then I worked for Amazon a little while, doing like management and marketing and operation stuff for them. I kind of decided, and this would have been 2015, 2016, that I was just going to throw myself into the startup world at the time. I mean, I got into crypto even earlier than that, actually. I got into Bitcoin stuff very early on, 2012, 2013. But I've always been haunted by the fact that I didn't go all in at the time. I could have been retired a long time ago. So yeah, that was how I learned about the value of crypto. But I spent a while doing management, consulting, and whatever, just kind of wandering between startups in the UK. And eventually I wound up at a place that was doing health tech. It was called Messley at the time. And this was really early on. I want to say 2016, 2017, just under 5 years ago. And they had kind of like some government connections. So we pitched to them the idea to do this kind of NHS credentials tracking blockchain. And amazingly enough, the government loved that. We got some funding for it, and I had to go out there and find someone to build it. So I found a guy at the time, a contractor called Vidor, who is now our CEO. And together, kind of we banged it out, and it worked. We built a credentials tracking blockchain for the NHS. And ironically, at the time, we actually built a bridge accidentally between Hyperledger Fabric at the time and Ethereum, like a functioning like token exchange that we could use. We didn't realize until years later that we actually built one of the first bridges. Period. We didn't realize how important it was. But either way, like pretty quickly, I became friends with Vidor, and we realized the stuff we could do together was way bigger than any of the companies I'd worked on. So I dumped what I was doing at the time, and we started working on things together and prototyping. And originally, for a couple of years, we were basically consultants and contractors in crypto. So we were VGNG.io, which you still see around here and there. and we built on a lot of chains, like a lot of different chains. Shortly after meeting me, I think Philip met Vidor at the same time on a different project. I'll let him tell his own story and background. But either way, so Vidor's guys had already been friends for going back to high school. Like they'd been hacking together. They met when they were playing Counter-Strike when they were teenagers. And so they all started building in crypto together. And we bounced between project to project. We built some early stuff on Ethereum. We moved to other chains. We built on Cosmos. We did a lot of stuff over and over again. And slowly we became really good at executing. Like Vidor and his core guys there are absolutely monstrous blockchain developers. Me, I do the product and the marketing stuff. I do the usability thinking and so on and so forth. But either way, we'd been bouncing around.
You have a coder's background then. How did you get so involved with building if you're doing marketing?
I mean, I have a little bit of a coder's background, but I'm an amateur. Like I'm not good. I've always been a game designer, a gamer, a technical person. So I got very close to thinking about like the social and the design aspects of how things work. You only need a little bit of code to be useful there. So I got used to working very, very closely with developers, which is an advantage in itself. And thinking about how do you implement like a real product, as it were? How do you put this together? How do you work with the developers to make something awesome? And I think a lot of teams actually lack this perspective. It's a really nice advantage to have someone who's thinking about the product, not necessarily from the technical side, but who understands the technology. Yeah. I mean, either way, by around early mid last year, we stumbled across Solana at the time. And Vidor and his guys were really, really impressed with the developer community. So we decided to put together for a wallet for it, which was Solflare, which you may have heard of now. I think it's probably the second biggest wallet in Solana. And we stuck around and we kept building, we kept experimenting. Around the start of this year, we entered the Serum X Solana DeFi hackathon. And we thought, okay, asset management, this chain might be perfect for it. Let's see what we can do. So we built a prototype of Solrise for the hackathon. And we came second. We raised funding pretty easily, and we've been frantically building on it and expanding it for the last 7 months. I guess that's the backstory. Philip, do you want to tell your own story there? I went on for a while.
Yeah. Let's hear Philip's story. It's an awesome journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be really short on it, but I've been doing basically all my life. I've been selling stuff. So I was a real estate agent. I was selling a lot of stuff throughout the years. I also got my MBA in Vienna. I bought an executive MBA, and at one point in time, one of my good friends, who's also now a part of a team, basically red pilled me with crypto. That was 2017, I think. It was the first time when I don't know if any of you remember, but that was when you had whitelisted wallets, and you could actually, it was 0x at the time, so you could have actually bought from the site and sold it right afterwards on a DEX.
I was part of the sale. It was 15th of August 2017. It was my biggest
Yes.
August play. I had 2 white-listed addresses, and I did exactly what you described. I went, I listed it in a DEX on Ethereum, and I could not believe my eyes when my ridiculous order was actually filled.
Yes, and the best thing about it was, so you could actually buy from the site. You could sell it on for like 2x at the DEX, and then buy more at the site, and then sell it on at the DEX one more time. You could do.
It's
You
insane.
could have done it. That was insane. So that was one of the first things that got everyone excited about crypto. But once you've seen what's actually possible and how a completely new world is building around it, that got me hugely excited because I've seen the potential. And I started actually. I had a syndicate with that exact friend, so we were a part of an investment group. We sourced deals. We were actually very close with some of the influencers at that time, and that's how I stayed in crypto, and that's how I actually met Vidor, because there was a regional project, because I'm from Croatia and Vidor is from Serbia. There was a regional project who was actually looking for someone on the development side, that was Vidor, and looking for someone on the business development side, and that was me, who could actually throw together their token metrics and so on. and that's where I met Vidor. And as soon actually as they started building Solrise Finance, and he saw the potential, I mean, the whole team saw the potential. Okay, this could actually be big. He actually called me and asked if I would join the team, and yeah, that's how we actually got together a few months ago. But it's been a wild ride since then.
Guys, that's an awesome story because, like, you are true builders. You've done this before. You've optimized. You've gone through change. You've gone through startups. You are educated. You've worked. I mean, you are the perfect people to actually be successful in this space. So, yeah, great. Yeah, long Solrise.
Yeah, thank you. But
you mentioned that Solrise is not your only Solana project. Can you tell us more of, like, what else do you have in that? Like, what else have you built in Solana that we don't know? Maybe the audience doesn't know. I most probably know, but yeah, let's see.
Matt,
Do you want to take this one, Philip, or should I do it?
I mean, I could do it as well. So, as Matt actually mentioned, the first thing we actually built in Solana was Solflare. So it's one of the biggest wallets right now. We are having huge updates with it. We're launching a mobile version soon. That is going to be really exciting. So this is one of the things that we built in Solana. So this is actually the first project. Maybe some of you don't know, but Sulfur is actually managing like 24% of all Sol circulating Sol right now. So that's about, I don't know, 10 to 11 billion dollars right now, and that's a huge responsibility on our end. But we're happy that so many actually people trusted their funds with us, and we're
I mean, your last update that revamped the whole wallet is pretty amazing. It made it really, really competitive. You're there with it's Phantom and Solrise. There's nothing else.
yes, exactly.
Solflare, sorry, Solflare.
It's Sulfur and Phantom basically right now, and it's great. It's somehow we always compare it maybe to Apple and Android in the mobile space, so we're kind of there, and it's hard actually to get in there between the two of us. But it's cool, and they're also a great team. They're also doing a great product. They're also pushing us to be better, and I think we've pushed them to be better as well. So that's it from the Sulfur side. Another thing that we built actually in a partnership with the Grape guys from Staking Facilities. Staking Facilities are the second biggest or third biggest validator on Solana, and are really big believers in the Solana ecosystem. And with them, we've built Solana Beach, actually one of the most used explorers on Solana. This was also quite the undertaking because building something that has 50,000 transactions per second as opposed to Ethereum's 12 per second is an entirely different ball game, and it's definitely not that easy. I wish Vidor would be here so he could tell you a little bit more about all the difficulties on building such a project like this, but that's mainly it. We also have plans for Solana Beach as well, but that's also interesting. So then came Solrise. Solrise, we're definitely going to touch more on Solrise later, but we also have Solrise Pulse. So this is one of the product suites from our institutional side. So this is KYC and permission protocols because we've seen a lot of interest for it, and it really ties in very well with the whole ecosystem that we've built. But we can touch on that a little bit later as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I have some questions on that move. It's amazing. It's like you're looking into the future. You're living in the future. So yeah, let's say I propose we start with the launch event of Solrise, which is around the corner. Let's talk a little bit about that. How you're gonna handle that? What are the incentives for people to play? What you expect to happen after this? A little bit of the timeline of the events, and yeah. Mostly, and the features, the platform features that people that join this launch should expect. So when are we starting, and what's the timeline?
So we kick off with Dawn 2 next Monday, October the 18th, and it'll be 3 phases. Each phase is 2 weeks. There may be a gap of a few days between the phases, depending on things. We're still working out the final timeline for phases 2 and 3. But for phase 1, well, the aim here really was to be able to robustly test things in a mainnet closed beta, mostly because it's kind of unprecedented. There's no protocol like this on Solana. There's a few similar to it on Ethereum, but none of them have taken the same approach. So we're really interested to see A, what people's feedback is, and B, how people behave, because we've seen there's a lot of hype, I think, for going into the platform. I'm hoping that we'll see some pretty exciting things over the first few months. But yeah, so there'll be 3 2-phase events. So the first is a closed beta with essentially the core fund management protocol. So for anyone who isn't aware, Solrise allows you to, in a decentralized, trustless manner, pool your funds underneath a manager who can then trade on your behalf. So for the initial closed beta launch, we're keeping it pretty restricted just because we want to test our fundamentals before we plug more integrations in. So there's a swap that we built on top of Serum, which obviously feeds into Serum's liquidity. And the managers will be trading on there, making up to them with how short-term or long-term they want to be, with the aim to make the best returns as they can, trading on spot on Serum in 2 weeks. So pretty clean at first. And there'll be rewards for both managers and investors. So we should be publishing the prize pool, I would guess, Thursday with the exact numbers. But although phase 1 will be smaller than phase 2 and 3 by quite a bit, there's still significant rewards. So we think there'll be a lot of incentive for people to play.
All phases are on mainnet.
Yep, all 3.
Awesome. Interesting. And you expect to have a handful of fund managers and plenty of investors, or the whole the whole phase is going to be people trading, meaning only managers?
So phase 1 will be both. It'll be both fund managers and investors. So the fund managers will be able to set up their funds, trade in real time, and the investors will decide where to invest. And the prizes for managers will be based on the performance they deliver on their fund. And the prizes for investors will be based on how effective their investments are, so on picking the right managers. For phase 2, that will be a purely fund manager-based competition. The idea there is essentially that we want to let the investors going into phase 3 make a kind of reasonable assessment of what they're investing in. So phase 2 will be purely a manager competition, just to let people show what they can do trading with these tools and build up a reputation. For phase 3, we'll be opening it up to investors again. So that will be a full 2-sided competition with managers and investors, all of them competing to get the best possible returns. The prizes, obviously, we've set it up assuming there'll be less fund managers than there will be investors by quite a bit. So the prizes will be for the top few hundred fund managers. And I think it's the top 1,000 or 2,000 investors we're expecting to reward for 2 and 3. Those numbers might get changed slightly. So yeah, so we're expecting obviously to have a lot more investors than we do managers. But especially in phase 2, I mean, we're calling it Battle of the Managers for a reason. We want to give people a chance to do their trades in public, let everyone watch, and let people prove what they can do, you know?
It's pretty awesome. That's and you expect high volumes to enter the platform. Like what's your prediction? People are going to start small. This is an untested platform. Like it's going to be gradual for sure. What do you think?
I think people absolutely will start small. So the first Dawn was a testnet competition, to be clear. Didn't use real money. But still,
yeah, we participated even as a community. So I think everybody here is familiar with it.
Good. We had a huge number of users. We had 60,000 Twitter and wallet verified signups, and even factoring in airdrop farmers, pretty confident there were more than 30,000 people in there. There was more than 20,000 funds set up. It was really, really busy. And obviously the barrier to entry was lower as it wasn't using real funds. But if we could get even a fifth of that engagement coming into Dawn 2, I think that would be pretty huge. So it's very hard to predict, frankly. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but we are starting deliberately with phase 1, keeping it pretty small. So the investment amounts for phase 1 will be just $100 on each side. So we're testing the protocol without larger amounts. We'll be raising it up to 1,000 for both managers and investors in phase 2 and phase 3. And then after phase 3, we'll take the caps off so people can go wild. But I've seen some pretty interesting things. I've had people DMing me claiming they've already got like investors who've committed $5 million to put into their funds, and we'll see whether or not that's true. But I think it's possible that some funds in particular will become very big within a relatively short period of mainnet launch. But it really does just come down to how people perform. That's the exciting part.
No, I'm glad you guys added the caps in the beginning, so people can actually take it slow, because it's untested and people would ape if they were given the chance.
Yeah, and I mean, we're actually expecting a lot of users just because our reward pool is insanely high. We can't talk about this right now. We're just going to announce phase 1 for now. But phase 2 and 3 are going to be ridiculous in terms of prices. But this is what we actually want and what we actually need from the platform. So we're basically a two-sided marketplace. We need investors and we need fund managers, and we absolutely need to attract the best possible fund managers out there in order to use the platform, in order to get acquainted with it, and to actually retain them on the platform. And that's why we're actually doing these trading competitions and giving such high prices, such high rewards. And you're going to see it. You're going to see them, I think, in a week or so. We're going to announce maybe phase 2 prices, and we've got a lot of partners in there as well who are also going to sponsor some prices and rewards. So it's going to be really, really, really exciting for sure.
Whole community is looking forward to it. So we start with a simple swap, and then after all the 3 phases of the launch of Dawn, are we going to see more functionalities be baked into the platform, more options for DeFi users, for farmers and leverage traders?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, we did publish a product roadmap talking a little bit about our plans on this, but so I think shortly after mainnet, one of our big priorities will be to get the easier integrations in. So this kind of depends on how things go, the integrations and partnerships. But high on my list in the short term would be some stuff like options. I mean, literally options, not just options. And adding in, potentially, we'd like to release yield farming funds before or around the end of the year. So, I mean, the reality is that might get pushed back to January. But either way, by Jan, we'd like to have the ability to plug into lending and borrowing protocols, staking, liquidity provision, and so on and so forth. So there'll be pretty robust farming funds. And at the same time, we'll be looking at what we can add into the initial Solrise funds. So which integrations would be best? As mentioned, I think options is pretty high on the list, but there may be quite a bit more. It depends on how it goes.
Yeah, and one of the biggest, of course, is the Serum DEX integration as well. So in order to have limit orders, right, for every fund manager, this is going to be extremely important. But there's also a lot of actually passive investing strategies as well, like doing portfolio funds of these. We can do funds of funds. We can do whatever. I mean, the platform is so expandable, and the goal is to provide every fund manager the widest possible tool set. But we need to be careful because it's not that easy, and it's never been done before in such a fashion. So we're going to definitely test it out as much as possible before we launch every single subsequent feature.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense you move slowly in every side of the project, because this is uncharted territory. This is an empty galaxy that you guys are in every on every side. Meaning, like, even on the legal side, things must be like extremely new in every.
Yes.
Yep, everything. I mean, but really, composability is the name of the game. Like, we want to, as Solana expands and as Solrise expands, we just want to keep plugging more and more options into there, more integrations, more services, so that eventually you'll be able to touch on most of the major protocols from Solana using Solrise. That's really our long-term goal. We want this to be integrated with everything.
So you can imagine yourself like some sort of a small DeFi hub of your own. So even, I mean, there's surely going to be people who are going to use Solrise just for their own investments. So because they're going to have everything in one place, and it's going to be really convenient for them.
I totally agree. And if in a world where synthetic assets are very easy to mint, and you can trade tokenized Tesla and tokenized Netflix, and have also some kind of prediction market baked into it, like you have unlimited possibilities. You can even have football games to include in your portfolio.
Yeah, that's. I mean, technically, that's possible. Yeah, I mean, we can do whatever. We can do NFT funds. We can do
Here you
prediction
go.
markets.
Here you go. NFT funds. Is this that's a question also from the Grape community. Are you guys going to include such innovations as fractions of NFTs, NFT funds? I'm pretty sure people would want exposure in some kind of financial instrument that trades an NFT floor.
Absolutely. I mean, I think long-term NFT funds are inevitable. It's really just a case of, hey, someone needs to build a really robust floor pricing protocol for Solana. And that alongside fractionalization, I mean, I don't know who's going to build that. I think if it took long enough, we might eventually build it ourselves. But I'm pretty confident over the next couple of months, we'll start to see that showing up. And once that's done, once there's the robust floor pricing and fractionalization is in place, there's nothing stopping us doing NFT funds. I think that could be huge. So long term, it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah, there is a project called Bridge Split in Solana that is building the fractionalization protocol. And they say they're gonna have it launched before the Solana breakpoint. So let's see.
It'll be super exciting.
That's ambitious. I mean, I would want to see it.
Yeah, I can throw an intro if you want. But on the event, let's go back to Dawn, to the Dawn 2. Are we going to also see the SLRS token being used and being maybe earned? What's the deal behind that? How would this work?
So a lot of the utility for Solrise, we expect most of it won't be running for phase 1. But for phase 2 and for phase 3, we'll start to roll out more of our long-term token utility and to integrate that into things. I think by phase 3, some of that should be pretty apparent. So we're expecting, and where the exact timeline is still a little bit back and forth, but around some point in November, we'll probably be adding the functionality to be able to stake Solrise. And at the same time, we'll be rolling out more of the platform utility. So there's going to be several different aspects to that. But yes, I mean, there will be Solrise utility either for the final phase of the competition or immediately afterwards, integrated into the platform. Probably.
And when Matt says stake Solrise, it means you're going to lock up your Solrise for a specific amount of time and get a specific API on it. So that's going to be interesting as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. That was again another question about single-sided pools that don't have the impermanent loss risk. That's pretty bullish.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's really interesting, and this is something that we considered because I mean a lot of actually Solana projects in their token metrics have a pretty small floats out there, so the circulating supply is really small. Ours is about 5% or something like that, and it's not entirely healthy to have it such low. So increasing it gradually, but not hurting the users with impermanent loss is a great option to actually increase that float. And if more and more Solana project will do such single-sided staking pools, like where you just give it out from your ecosystem incentives, that would be awesome. Because you're actually rewarding those people that believe in your project and lock their tokens away. So you're basically having ambassadors of your project, and you should reward them as much as you can, actually.
Yeah, and at the same time, a lot of the other utility will kick in for people who have the token locked up. So they'll receive, if they're a manager, a higher share of the performance fee. If they're an investor, the fees on the platform will be reduced. We're also looking at potentially adding some kind of other rebates so investors can get small shares of the performance fees going through the platform. The aim is really to make it so that the people with that Solrise staked, locked up, will get a lot of other benefits at the same time. That will be, at least for the near future, that will be what we consider to be, as Philip said, being ambassadors, being committed members of the community. and we'll be heavily incentivizing the people who do that with better conditions on the platform.
What about governance? Does it play any role in the governance of the protocol?
This is something.
Sorry, I'll let you take it.
Okay, yeah, this is something that we're looking into. We're definitely, interested in doing some sort of a governance DAO for Solrise. Maybe just not yet, because we intend to move extremely fast, and as soon as we have the basic protocol built out in the way that we intended it, we're definitely going to look into proposing a DAO-like structure. But we're also waiting for the DAO infrastructure on Solana to be built out. There's a lot of things that are missing. There's a lot of things that haven't been tested out, are unclear, and someone has to break the ice. Mango has done it, and others are doing it right now. So we need to see how it plays out, and when all the tool sets are here and people are more acquainted with it, then we're definitely going to consider doing DAO.
What about any kind of mechanics that will make maybe the token deflationary, add some burn, give this different kind of introduce some kind of scarcity mechanism to give value to the holders? Is there anything planned or anything like that? Should the holders expect anything like that, or there should be no speculation around the token? It should be just functions on the Solrise platform.
That actually fits very well into your past question about the DAO. So how we set it up currently is that the protocol itself, Solrise, has fees on it. So managers pay some fees, investors pay a small fee and something like that when using the platform, and all those fees are actually gathered in Solrise tokens and are going to be sent to our long-term reserve pool. So we aren't actually burning them, but we are sending them away and locking them into a pool that is inaccessible by us and will be accessible at one point by the DAO. So in theory, we're not burning them. We're just filling up a treasury that will be controlled by the DAO at a later point in time.
Wow, this is very smart. I love it. I love it. It shows that you've planned it well.
Yeah, it got us a lot of. We discussed it and debated it internally for a long time, especially also from a legal side, because burning can be somehow also a little bit dangerous from the legal side. But locking them away in a long-term reserve fund is completely fine, and I think that in the future, DAO holders will be very, very happy with that decision.
I love it. That's quite a lot of alpha. The viewers are taking notes. Trust me.
Great.
Let's go to the other really interesting subject you touched when you started, which is you called it Solrise Pulse. It's not Solrise Pro, which is the institutional DEX you're building. Could you tell us a little bit how did this idea come to you? Was it a reaction to something that was proposed? Are you preparing for something? Is there something in the works? Should we expect some big name to join Solrise?
So the core of this really, for the record with the names, Pulse is our ecosystem of permission protocols. DEX Pro is simply the first part of Solrise Pulse. So in the longer term, this isn't an immediate thing. We'd like to have a parallel track running. So for the DeFi protocols, specifically Solrise, there will also be a Pulse version, which will be permissioned at the same time. So there'll be essentially a completely, fully decentralized permissionless version, and there'll also be the KYC version at the same time. The big drive behind this is more or less, without KYC, institutions can't touch these protocols because there are sanctioned lists internationally of individuals who you legally cannot trade with. So organized crime groups, terrorist groups, whatever. And the penalties for doing this are colossal. So huge fines, prison terms for the people involved. You can't do it. So this counterparty risk, without KYC of some kind, they simply cannot touch it at all. And we're talking banks, we're talking hedge funds, we're talking, hell, even in the really long term, even government treasuries. Once you put KYC on a protocol, they can move things in. And obviously, even if those protocols and those tracks are separate, like the effect on an ecosystem or Solana from institutional money being able to move in would be colossal. So really, the DEX Pro is just the first step on a very long journey there. And I mean, Philip probably has some more to add on this. I'll leave it to him afterwards. But we want to establish that. So we want to allow the institutional money to come in. In the future, we want to look at where we can build ways for the institutional money to complement what we're doing in pure DeFi terms, where there's any way we can channel liquidity between them. That's in the future. But for now, it's really just about opening that door to institutions, because allowing them to move money into Solana benefits everyone.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Solana is actually the perfect place for it, because it's the first time an actual order book can be done on chain. I mean, except for some layer 2 solutions on Ethereum, but that's really, really interesting through institutions, because that's what they're familiar with. And that's where they know how to trade with. They know market makers. It's not an AMM. It's something they're used to. And it's something they're much more inclined to use than any other thing. And we've seen some interest even after launching. So it's still in the early phases, and it's going to be a slow start, a slow burn. But we've got banks reaching out to us and asking us, okay, how does this work? Can you please explain it to us? We're interested. We have been looking into the space, but we need someone who can guide us through it. And so it's the interest is definitely there. I mean, inbound interest, and that's what is exciting about it. On the other hand, I just wanted to tell that, just imagine having a Solrise Pro or Pulse version of it, so where it's actually regulated. So that means all the fintech apps that you can imagine, I don't know, Revolut, whatever it is, all these neobanks can actually tap into a Solrise index funds, a Solrise, I don't know, investor funds into a fund manager on Solrise. Because
it only makes sense. It only makes sense to give the ability to institutional players to come and enjoy those yields and add them to their portfolios and create new businesses from them, and really bring non-crypto people that are not technical, don't understand what non-custodial means, and on all these technical jargon, that just can enjoy the yields. Like we're seeing negative APRs in our banks in Europe, so. Yeah, and it's not only in Europe, guys. It's coming to a bank around where you live sooner or later.
Yeah, that's completely true. Yeah, and they want to have a slice of this efficiency that we have in DeFi, because the thing that is troubling TradFi currently is inefficiency and having to. It's slow and it's costly to have validators at every single point of a transaction. I don't know, swapping a big amount of money from one investment fund to another in the TradFi space can lead up to, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. At Solrise Finance, you can do it in 45 seconds. Just withdraw and deposit into another fund. So the efficiency is key here. And this is what attracts, I mean, all the people that are actually in DeFi right now. But it also attracts institutions as well. But up until now, they haven't got a choice. They haven't got an opportunity to actually try it out. Now they have it. It will take some time for them to get acquainted with it. But once they are in it, they're definitely going to use it, because it gives them so much more profit than usual operations they have.
Are the two platforms the two products, Pulse and the retail, let's say, platform, connected? Are the SLRS tokens still being used for the same purposes, and everybody has the same rules?
That's our intention. I mean, so fees at the moment from the DEX Pro go to the long-term buy and hold pool. they use to buy Solrise, which goes to long-term hold. And I'd imagine that'll be the case. The tokenomics and the token utility will likely be the same. We might make slight adjustments in the long term, but we've got no intention to do that at the moment. All of it will benefit the Solrise token.
That's another really important detail there. Thank you for this.
I mean, we can tell you something more, something even more interesting.
Yes, please. I'm all ears.
So, I mean, since we have a little ecosystem of ours, we plan to actually make Solrise as a token an ecosystem token. So whatever product that you're using that our team has built or helped building, then Solrise will in some way or another be used on our platform. Either if we, I don't know, generate fees, it will be used to market-based Solrise and put it in a long-term reserve fund, or if you hold some Solrise, you can get some extra benefits that you usually won't have and some sort. So we're making Solrise an ecosystem token, and it's not going to be exclusively tied to Solrise Finance, the asset management platform.
Wow. So can I speculate in that family of projects you're building to include, let's say, Solflare and include Solana Beach and whatever else you build on top of Solana Beach? That you mean, is this what you mean by ecosystem?
Yes. Yes,
Amazing.
We're currently working on it, and I mean that's pretty big news that we're going to launch. But I mean, we're not having these AMAs often, and we like talking to you and to your community because, yeah, I mean we're working together for a long time, and we like you guys. So yeah, that's something that we plan to do, and that we will announce, but maybe not quite soon. Maybe after Dawn finishes or something like that.
That's beautiful. Really, it shows you guys are actually building in so many directions, and that was big alpha. I mean, whoever is watching, and we have quite a lot of people, so over 120 people at the moment on the live from all platforms. I can't see media, but everybody else is way above 120. So you've been building so many things, but you'll require to actually do quite a lot of partnerships in order to include all these DeFi platforms, all these strategies, synthetic assets, options, perpetuals, all these things. Are you considering building any of them in-house, or are you going to utilize successful protocols in Solana?
I think in general, we prefer to integrate or partner where we can. If we had something that was really integral and nobody else was building it, then we'd build it eventually, I think. But really, I think partnerships and integrations are the way to go whenever possible, because there's just so many angles people can take on Solana. And, there's so many fantastic teams building at the moment, and we'd love to be working with as many of them as possible. We've had a lot of different conversations, a lot of different teams. So I think there's quite a lot of people who are very interested in integrating once we're there and ready to do it.
Could you maybe give a shout out also on some projects that are actually building and you think they're worth following, looking at their innovations and maybe getting closer as investors, communities, builders, because we have all kinds of people here. So if you have any good partners that you would like to offer a shout out, we would definitely appreciate it.
I mean, both of the solid options protocols, the American and European style, so Zeta and Psi options, could potentially be very interesting. We'd like to be able to offer both types of platform, both on the platform, and they're really nice guys. Man, we've got a long list. Obviously, Serum. Everything Serum are doing is integral to our protocol, and that goes without saying. But they've got more interesting plans, and I think that the things they'll be unlocking and doing now will get bigger and bigger. The list of good projects on Solana is pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to integrate a per protocol, but we're still waiting to see which will play out as the winning one. Because, as we said, we wanted to make it a DeFi hub, and we don't want to give managers like 50 different options for the same thing. So we're going to integrate one of each. So it's going to be one future protocol, which is going to be one specific option protocol, but we have right now two with quite different. So American style and European style options. It's going to be one per protocol. It's going to be of one of each, and we're still waiting for a lot of them to launch. Like also for lending and borrowing as well. That's highly interesting for Solrise because you could actually borrow and hedge your strategies. So we're still waiting because we still need to build out Solrise itself. But once we see there's going to be a clear winner and who has proven itself and the community love them, we're definitely going to integrate those.
Fantastic, and I love the idea that you're actually considering you don't want to offer like the same service in multiple forms. It's just going to confuse. So waiting for a winner and someone to actually capture the market is the best course. I totally agree on that.
Because it's going to dilute, right? Yeah, and it's the same thing when you come to a restaurant, right? You come to a restaurant, you see like when you see 60 meals on the menu, you're not going to have a very good meal, most probably. But if you see that someone has, I don't know, 7 to 8 meals, and then you'll know, okay, it's easier for you to pick, and you've known
for the platform, then it would be a success if we see people using it to trade solo, using it to manage their own portfolio, even if it's not necessarily social, because we want to have such a clean, pleasant, well-curated experience for managing your own portfolio and trading that, even if you weren't necessarily managing a larger fund, it'd still be one of the best UXs to use. That's almost just a side effect of what we're building. But as we said, the point is to handpick the best integrations and bring them all into Solrise over time.
And to get back to your question, actually, if we want to build something of our own, so we started building Solflare because there wasn't a wallet in Solana at that point in time that actually got staking. Then we looked for an explorer. There wasn't an explorer that offered us data analytics that we wanted. So we created Solana Beach with the partners and staking facilities. And it's basically whatever we see that we need, and there's nothing out there, we can't build it. But if there's some talented team out there who is already building it, who are really passionate about it, we're definitely looking forward to cooperating with them, collaborating with them, and integrating their protocol into our hub.
Man, you've gone through the thought process. It shows that you're building it with care and in a pace that is considering all the new additions to DeFi, to the market, to the players, to Solana. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also so as an asset management platform, for example, we need to be really, really, really careful with user funds. And I mean, as we have Solflare, we're pretty used to building super secure stuff. But Solrise will need to have the same approach because it can happen that, for example, there's a protocol exploit and people use their funds. I mean, it's bad for every protocol, but an asset management platform would hardly recover from that because trust is something you build over months and you can lose it in a second. We are here with Solflare and Solana Beach and Solrise for over a year now, and we've built some trust that is reflected in Solflare's numbers, for example. And we definitely do not intend to lose that trust and just build on top of that and stay in the game for a long time.
There is a nice question from the audience, which has to do with the first dawn, which you split it into phases. There were some issues. What were the lessons learned from the first beta testing, let's say, alpha testing?
The biggest one, and I think the one that shone out to us at the time, was the importance of having the price feeds be completely and utterly reliable. Because people with Dawn identified that because we were doing things in a test net, there was like a 5 to 10 second delay on some of the prices, and they just arbitraged over and over and over again. Like they were the amount of attention they were paying to even like the tiniest like detail being off was actually really impressive. And it made us realize that kind of a combination of Solana itself being so fast and there being so many people involved means that the small details like that, like the price feeds, for example, are incredibly important because, as mentioned, the speed, the number of people, all that means that can get magnified really quickly. So I'd say it was that, and also not underestimating our community because, again, like if you have that many people, if there's a gap or a flaw in the system, then they will find it. And with the transaction speed and everything else being so fast and so cheap, they can exploit that over and over again. So our solution to that obviously was to get really serious about price oracles. And I think we had that one fixed by phase 2 of the initial dawn. The second one was actually the danger of low cap coins because for the original dawn, we saw people deliberately moving markets in real life to try and get better advantages in the competition. So this made us realize actually, if we include low cap coins here, people can do amazing amounts with moves. So they can deliberately pump a token to make their fund performance look better. And then obviously they can pump and dump on their own funds. A lot of
the extent people go for alpha closed event, I mean, impressive, no?
It is impressive. It makes you realize how powerful this is. And it also makes you realize how careful and how robust you have to be when you're building these things. I'm really glad we did it, to be honest. It taught us a lot.
Yeah, but this was also reinforced actually by the price, by the rewards at Dawn 1. So at that point in time, it was 250K or something like that in dollar amounts. But the people that actually, and it was 5 million Solrise in total. So the second part of the prices, so the second part of the rewards is going to be claimed right now when we launch mainnet, and these rewards are actually now worth like, I don't know, over $2 million or a little bit less maybe at the current prices. And at such a high price point, at such a high reward point, you know that you're going to attract so many people who are going to to try to break your platform. And it's great for you because you're basically giving out a prize, a reward for everyone to break it while it's in a contained phase. So once you're out with Solrise in general, you know it's safe and you have addressed all those points. It's basically like giving out a whitehead hacker a reward for finding critical exploits in your protocol.
Beautiful. Thank you for answering this. It was. I thought it was a pretty sensitive question because of what it involved with all this manipulation from people. But yeah, thank you for diving into this. Another question from the community is about the rewards on phase 2. Are these actually on the Dawn 1 phase 2? Are these already distributed? Are they going to be distributed soon? What's the status on this one?
Next Monday, October the 18th, that'll be the claim for the second half of the Dawn rewards from the first Dawn.
Beautiful. Nice. Around the corner.
Yes, and for the next one, I mean for Dawn 2, we also have the same principle as for Dawn 1. So you also get 50% of the rewards after Dawn 2 ends, and the next one at Dawn 3 or whatever we may call it, as soon as we have like more features and we want a new trading competition to take place, because every time we roll out a big update, we want people to get attracted to it and try to break it in that sort, in that fashion. So it's going to be the same as with Dawn 1.
Nice. And last question from me is: Are we gonna drink a beer in Lisbon?
Of course we are.
Beautiful.
Maybe
Really
two.
looking forward to that.
Maybe even 2.
Oh yeah, maybe even more. Let's see. Anything you want to say to the audience, to the people, to the recordings that we're going to push out later? The stage is yours.
I mean, firstly, thanks for listening. We're really happy to everyone who's interested in and supporting Solrise. If you've got any more questions or anything you'd like to ask, you can always message us on Twitter, DM us, like post things in public. Like we do our best to be responsive. I think there's a Grape gated channel for Solrise. That's also a great place to ask questions. I do check that occasionally. And yeah, just please feel free to engage with us. Hit us up with any questions you've got, and we really appreciate all your attention and support.
Yeah, and we love the Grape community.
Thank you so much, and you've sent our way plenty of tickets for the Dawn 2, and we are going to utilize them, all of them. We're creating teams, and we hope to get to make a lot of noise, because we're very excited. We have lots of traders, lots of potential fund managers, and great community building tools for those people to actually create their own little communities and talk to their investors. So we're really looking forward on what you're building, and we're going to actively participate, test it, and then be as investors and fund managers in when it's live.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, even for the closed beta, it's awesome because the prices in the closed beta are not small as well. But it's contained to 1,000 people, but they're not small. I think, I'm not quite sure, but the best fund manager is getting, I don't know, a 50K or something like that. So that's not small, and everybody up to the 500s or something like that is getting something from the investor side. So both fund managers and investors will get rewarded, and yeah, would love to see some insane profits and trading alphas from the Grape community. And we hope that you win it.
Beautiful. Thank you. We'll do our best. Honestly, we'll do our best. We'll deploy our best researchers and Solana alpha hunters. We have plenty, so let's see. Chances are good. Again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really hope not only that we're going to meet in Lisbon, but we're gonna have such a talk again in a couple of months to fill us up about your new projects, the new features, the new events, and all these things you've been building. We're very excited.
I mean,
That sounds great.
Thank you for inviting us along. It's been a pleasure, and of course, we'd be totally happy to come back in a few months and do this again.
Beautiful. Thank you, and good night.
Totally. Thank you, guys, and have fun.
Thank you everybody for being here. It was a slightly longer AMA because, man, we were vibing. We are going to closely work with the Solrise Finance. The team is a superstar team, as you see. Dedicated builders, dedicated entrepreneurs, and another project, another team that will build whatever is missing and will also act as the rising tide that lifts all the Solana boats. So yeah, we're all in one of those boats, maybe in multiple boats. When the tide is rising, we all go up. So again, thank you for being here. Sorry for the little crash in between. Again, let's... oh, by the way, I am going to... I've taken a screenshot of the audience when there were 64 people, I think. I'm going to pick one and give a Solar Knot NFT. I'm going to... You're gonna read about it, who got it, maybe. I'm not sure, we don't dox who got it, but we're gonna show the NFT. It's part of the... It's going to be part of the newsletter. I always give this information to the team behind the newsletter. So Solar Knot NFT is going to go to a lucky viewer. Of course, he needs to also be verified with the Grape community, otherwise we can't give it. Again, thank you for being here, and I hope to see you on the next stream, but if not, at least on the next AMA. Take care, people. I love you all. What's up, lovely peoples, what do you think? I think this team is freaking awesome. Like they are from a different planet. They have been building in Solana for the past 1.5 years. This was actually created from Gabriele from the Monkey DAO. We are into the photo finish NFT game. This is the what's it called? The dude NFTing me and Ratoshi, and yes, we're aping with the grapes. So yeah, I can't. This is Gabriele's creation, man. We're Stylish Stadge, of course, man. Of course, I have my collection. I'm impressed, guys. I'm impressed by the Solrise team and their abilities to build, their abilities to go fast. Like, very bullish on the team. And I'm not a huge technical person. I don't understand good code. I don't understand GitHubs. I don't understand these kind of things. But I understand a good team. Like, you can spot a good team. You can spot that these guys are builders, and you can also spot the similarities between the projects. Solflare, Solana Beach, Solrise, and the most important thing he said is that Solrise is going to be an ecosystem token. There's going to be a DAO. This DAO will eventually vote some kind of connection between the platform usage and the SLRS holders. And in the end of the day, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, should you ape in? No financial advice. I want to see how phase 1, Dawn 2 phase 1 will go. I really encourage everyone to join the Grape community. I'm going to start distributing tickets for all 3 phases. As you heard, the first prize for the most successful fund manager is $50,000. That's a lot of dollars. So, and the cap, each wallet's cap is $100. What's happening with Geckos? I'll give you some alpha on the Geckos. Geckos are going to be the first NFT to go on the fractionalization of things. So the Geckos are going to be the first NFT. You'll be able to buy a fraction of it. Strong team, strong art, good connections. Check Alpha Art Twitter. What's Alpha Art Twitter? What? What the fuck is this? We received the official notice below from the Geckos. Since the accusation this notice is found from being accurate, we would like to say a few things and add that we are in touch with our legal team to discuss. In any event, please advise that GGSG hereby demands the listing of GGSG Alpha Art including but not limited to any references. Okay. Why? I do not know. Having a producer name likeness associated. Enforcement. Yeah, I see no reasoning. I'd like to look into it. I can't have an opinion. I'll need to research. It looks very, very, very interesting. Geckos don't want to be linked to royalty payments and securities risk. Makes sense. They also want to be listed in the FTX marketplace. I totally understand. I really need to look into it. I really need to understand what Alpha Art is doing, and are they launching some kind of is it just because they listed without a request? Come on. Why would they request? I can list whatever they want. I can create a website and list the Geckos. And then I can ask people to, like, if I hold an NFT, am I not like allowed to actually do whatever the fuck I want? This is such new legal grounds. Ah man, you know what the Grape server is doing, what the Grape Discord community is doing. We're gonna have a legal expert team come once a month and and we'll be able to actually ask questions like that and get alpha and insights and stay updated on the legality of things. And when it comes to these kind of questions, or what happens into intra-DAO payments, what happens to decisions made by DAOs that you are participating, having a regulatory framework that can shed some light to your local or at least general area jurisdiction. Phantom Rain, first of all, thank you for the second month of actually subscribing. I'm humbled. Thank you. Humbled, honored, everything. Phantom Rain is asking, do you think we're entering into an era where NFT projects need to have a lawyer or retainer? I think yes. Yes. Definitely. 100%. 100%. Even minting a token, you should have a lawyer. You should get an advice of a lawyer. Honestly, it's something that's it's not intuitive. It's not intuitive that there's a legal entity that is minting the token, and then they are donating the token to you. But this is not you that's minting the token. Because if the mint of the token or the mint of the NFT is then characterized as a security, then the person who issued that is the minter. Because, we're still in this clunky, weird phase where the digital and the physical, the traditional finance and the digital finance are kind of... Digital finance is using regulations from the traditional finance, and okay, who issued the security? The mint address issued the security. Who controls the mint address? Oh, that company in Panama. That's one possibility. And again, the same goes with NFTs. Where did this NFT originate? That mint address issued the coin, so they issued the securities. Who controls this mint address? Oh, it's that guy. Get him in jail for unregistered securities. So yeah, you need to have a lawyer. It's wait, Silon, thank you, man. Thank you. 5 months. My God, 5 months. This security shit is bullshit. Yeah, man. It doesn't apply in non-US people that much. I'm not saying I have to go to Northern Europe, go to Norway, man. Yeah, it applies. They have too much money, too much time, and they're too experts. They're gonna find you. They have their blockchain analytics integrated into the taxman, the national taxman. So, yeah. Now, if you live in Nigeria, if you live in Greece, if you live in places that they don't have their shit that well together when it comes into tax evasion, a little bit of corruption, a little bit of shit like that. Yeah, it's harder. On the other hand, why would you take these risks? And when you're building a project, when you're building an NFT, when you're building a protocol, when you're building a community, when you're building anything, you should treat it like it's going to become a $100 billion company, $1 trillion company. You should treat it like you're huge. Because if you're successful and you become huge, you don't want to be cock-blocked by some stupid, rushed choice you made when you were an infant. It only makes sense to have a lawyer if you're going to mint something. Now, minting an NFT and giving it, like minting, me making a drawing, minting 3 NFTs, giving it to my friends. Yeah, I don't need a lawyer. But doing 1,000 piece, 10,000 mint, and then receiving 60,000 Solana. Yeah, you fucking need a lawyer, man. And in the end of the day, listen to me. Like, let's say you do this. And you mint your NFTs and you gather 60,000 Sol. In 3 seconds, your NFT project is sold out. Let's assume all these things. You have a wallet with 60,000 Sol. You take that Sol, you throw them into Orca or into Radium. You get, what is it now? 60,000 USDC is 60,000 Solana is a lot of money. Yeah, whatever. You get that huge amount of money. You have it in USDC. How are you gonna cash it out? Who paid you that money? You need to present the paper and say, hey, we sold these NFTs and here's the money I gathered. You need a lawyer for that. You need to structure it somehow. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. And I've seen this from Grape itself. We have a really good legal team with us. And their whole approach was exactly what I'm describing. So like you're starting something, you want to sleep well at night, you don't want to be illegal, you don't want to screw anybody holding your token, you don't want to screw anybody in your community. You need to be transparent, and in the end of the day, if you make it and the company is valuable, you don't want to have to think about these things. So yeah. Getting lawyers is important. And guys, understand that the profit margin in this software, protocol, blockchain, internet things like is huge. Is huge. Imagine how you compare it to hardware, where it needs manufacturing and inventories and like. Have you ever seen Shark Tank? Have you ever seen all these shows that, you know, these entrepreneurs go and pitch their amazing ideas and they have their revenue streams and they have their numbers and they're like, this is the production cost, this is how much I can scale it, and then make it like economies of scale and drop the price, and they have all these things and they give like 20, 30, 40% of their equity. Man, in crypto, none of this shit happens. You sell confetti money, you get money. So spend some of this money and hire a fucking lawyer in the end of the day. Excuse my French, but yeah. Lawyers are important, and accountants are important. They become very important at some point in your life. Very, very, very important. Same goes with airdrops. I'll give you an example. If you're doing an airdrop, you should not leak any information around the date. You shouldn't use the word airdrop. You shouldn't do any of these things. Like, we've heard stories of undercover Security and Exchange Commissions, IRS people, government people living in Solana discords. I'm not talking about Bitcoin discords, Ethereum mega communities. I'm talking about Solana specifically. There are rumors, and I'm not saying there is a rumor that some unknown whispered me in between spam messages. I'm saying people that I respect in their expertise, in their ability to assess the market and make money, man. And they advised us, it's like, guys, be careful. There are people that are pretending to be part of the community. There are IRS agents that are just looking for hints that you are going to actually ensure security. Yeah, man, yeah. Gensler is lurking in Discord, ready to instruct his attack dogs. Yeah, definitely lawyers and accountants. How are you going to get paid? You sold something. How is this money going to arrive in your bank account without you being fucking arrested and taken for questioning? Imagine you bring suddenly you bring 600,000 in your account, or 100,000, or 60, 70,000, depending on your income statement. Like, they're gonna, like, alerts are gonna, what the fuck happened? How did this guy come up with what is he selling? My dad is an accountant, feels good, man. Yeah, that's good. Taking advice from your dad on, hey, hey, like I've launched this NFT. Maybe I should have a company that sends some kind of receipt for like you've been hired for consulting services, and this is your payment. You know, so you can tax it in a different way. There are ways to make it easier for you. There is no way to avoid it. There's no way. There is corporate tax or income tax, and going into toxic jurisdictions can really hurt you in real life. I mean, you don't wanna like if you live in the Western world or in a westernized world. You do not want your bank to know that you have any affiliation with tax havens. You don't want to know that if your bank, your SEPA eligible bank learns that you have a relationship with a company in the British Virgin Islands, they're gonna fucking close your accounts. They're scared. They're scared because they're gonna take the regulators are going to take their neck if they screw it up. So make sure, guys, you hire professionals and you do it in time. You don't want to be, you don't want to be caught with your pants down when the tide, goes away, the water goes down. You don't want to have your pants down. Like what's happening in Lebanon, man. Lebanon is in a dire situation, eh? Like I'm not super well informed on the situation, but I was seeing like the prices, like there was this showcase on how expensive McDonald's and all these imports are. It's just crazy. The government's left the country. Yeah, hyperinflation and everything is extremely expensive when it comes to imports, and people are long Bitcoin. And guys, inflation is inevitable. Coronavirus just accelerated things. So again, it's personal opinion. You never know, but at some point this is going to have an effect. Guys, let's close it here. I'm gonna pick what's it called? One of the members of the audience to give a solar note. I don't want to do it on live because I want to check if he's part of the Grape community, if he has a role. I need to do all these things. In the end, I'm gonna release all the information. I think we had an amazing AMA with Solrise Finance. They dropped quite a lot of alpha. Very good team, great builders, and Solana OGs building for 1.5 years, 3 projects with deep builds. So yeah, thank you all for participating so much, and great questions from members that I don't really see. Like don't really see. Like I've seen them before, but some questions were really good. Where is it? Doja. Good fucking questions like Doja. Like I'm going to what's it called? Reply, dude. Thank you for the awesome questions. I am going to send you a solar nut. Expect it in your wallet in a couple of days. Again, thank you. See you on Thursday, yes. Thursday the 12th, we'll have a giveaway for sure. And plenty of alpha. Because we haven't done no whale tales today, no whale tales on Sunday, because we had back-to-back AMAs. Again, guys, thank you. Sorry for the drop. Love you all. See you in 2 days. Take care. Satoshi, you didn't say anything to your friends for too long. Come. Hi, I'm Hatoshi. Meow. He's a nice guy. Look how patient he is. He hates me at the moment. He's like, fucking human. I was sleeping. What's your issue? Ah, he's patient. Bye guys.